Welcome back to Rhythm Guitar Book 2. This book focuses on open chords, strumming, and fingerstyle patterns. You can watch all these videos for free, but it's going to be a lot easier to learn if you have your own copy of Rhythm Guitar 2 that you can read from and write in, so I'll leave a link in the description. We're on pages 79 and 80, and this is the last lesson in Rhythm Guitar 2. We're going to be looking at power chords. Power chords are simple chords that work very well in blues and rock. Power chords are often notated with a 5 after the chord name, like E5, A5, or D5, and then sometimes above the music you'll simply see the word power chords, which means that instead of playing your regular chords, you're supposed to play power chords instead. And in my book, I like to use the 5, E5, A5, and D5, but look out for the power chord notation in other music. So these are the 3 power chords we're going to be looking at in this book. We have our E5, and all you do is play your open E, your low E, and 2nd fret, and play that with your first finger. You'll see why when we get to one of these patterns below. So it's just those 2 strings. It's really easy to hit the next string down. So what I do is, with the finger that I have placed down here, I flatten it out a little bit so it's touching the string below it. So if I do hit that string, it doesn't matter because I'm not going to get a note. So that's your E5, and it's based on that open E string plus 1 note on the 2nd fret. Here's your A5. Same idea. We're just moving our first finger to the 2nd fret on the 4th string, and now we're playing the low A string plus that note. And again, I am putting my first finger down and flattening it out a little bit, so I'm muting the string below it, so I don't have to be too cautious about my strumming. And then the D5, same as the others. We're just moving our finger to the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and now we're playing our open D string plus that note, muting the string below it. And again, make sure you're playing these with your first finger, because we're going to be needing another finger when we look at these patterns below. Now, I mentioned muting the string below whatever finger you're playing with. That's if you're strumming. You can also play these finger style, and if I play finger style, I'll just do a little pinch motion, playing with my thumb and my first finger. We have a couple patterns at the bottom of page 79 that we can use with our power chords. Number R134, it's very easy. All it is 8th notes. Now, in other patterns, when you played 8th notes, you played down, up, down, up. For power chords, all you do is play down, 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 down. Now, you still need to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and this is where it's really helpful to have that string muted underneath your first finger. That's on an E5, of course on an A5, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a D5, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Number R135 is a little different. This is a blues shuffle, and this is why we're playing this 1 note with our first finger, when really you could use any finger if you wanted to, but not with this pattern. Here's what the pattern sounds like, and then we'll break it down a little bit. So those are swing 8th notes. The 8th notes are a little lopsided. It's kind of long, short, long, short, long, short. And you can play these with straight 8th notes too. It really depends on what song you're doing. So the way you do this is you put your first finger down on whatever string needs to be down on, and then you're going to be playing 2 notes, I should say 2 chords, like that. Keeping your first finger down, you'll put your 3rd finger down 2 frets away. So this will be on the 4th fret. Then you play like that. And the reason we keep our first finger down is we're going to go back to the first finger. And then on an A, I should say A power chord or A5. Whoops. missed the string on that first one, and then the D power chord. On page 80, we have the last two exercises in this book. We have R136. It's in 4/4 time. It's marked moderate rock, quarter equals 100. And that's our tempo there. And these are power chords all the way. We're going to be using that first pattern from the previous page when we're playing all down strums without, not going to be doing that one. And remember, count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all the way through so you don't get lost. And these are all down strokes, muting the string underneath whatever finger happens to be down. So at the beginning we have E5 or E power chord for 2 measures, so you're going to be counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you're going to be doing that with all of the other chords in this exercise except for the very last time you play an E5, because we do have a whole note at the end. So that last E5 is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then your whole note. I'm going to play this one twice. First time at the marked tempo of quarter equals 100. Second time a little slower at quarter equals 80. And as I've done throughout this book, I encourage you to play along with the video so you can work on keeping a steady tempo, or use a metronome so you can choose your own tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. One, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. At the bottom of page 80, we have the last exercise in this book. This is number R137, this blues in A. It's in 4/4 time, and the tempo says slow blues shuffle, quarter equals 76, so it's slow. And we're going to be using the blues shuffle pattern from the previous page. Remember, when you do that, keep your first finger down the whole time. So we have 1 measure of A at the beginning, 1 measure of D5, and then 2 measures of A. Second line is just 2 measures of D5 or D power chord and 2 measures of A power chord. And then the last line we have 1 measure of E, 1 measure of D, and then then A. And as you do this pattern, there's nothing wrong with maybe leaving off the last note before you move to the next one. See if you can keep it going. But if that last note doesn't always pop out, that's okay. The main thing is you keep a good groove going. I'll play this one twice. First time it's going to be at the marked tempo of quarter equals 76. Second time it's going to be even slower at quarter equals 60. And as always, I encourage you to play along with the video so you can work on keeping a steady tempo, or play to a metronome so you can choose your own tempo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. Your assignment is to practice those power chord exercises on page 80, and then once you're comfortable with those, you're done with the book. On page 81, you'll find a whole bunch of chords. These are all the chords you learned in this book, plus several others, and this will be a good page to keep on hand for future reference. And the last few pages are also for reference. You'll find a whole bunch of strumming and fingerstyle patterns in 4/4 time and 3/4 time. You've learned several of these, and there are plenty more that you haven't learned, but I encourage you to explore these as you go forward. You've already learned a lot, especially if you've been using this information to learn songs on your own, but you can take your playing even further with movable chords. Rhythm Guitar 3 focuses on learning all sorts of movable chord shapes. It's a pretty intense book, and a lot of students like to go through my book First Moveable Guitar Chords first, which is kind of a light version of Rhythm Guitar 3. And if you like jazz and blues, check out my book Three-Note Jazz Guitar Chords. If you haven't done so already, take yourself through my melody guitar books. Those focus on learning how to read and play melodies in standard notation. I've got 4 melody guitar books. Book 1 teaches notes on strings 1 through 3, plus some basic music reading, which would be familiar if you've gone through some of my rhythm guitar books. Melody Guitar 2 takes you through the notes on strings 4, 5, and 6. In Melody Guitar 3, the music gets harder and harder, and then in Melody Guitar 4, you'll learn how to read and play melodies all over the fretboard. So congratulations on finishing Rhythm Guitar 2, and I'll look forward to seeing you in Rhythm Guitar 3, First Moveable Guitar Chords, or Three-Note Jazz Guitar Chords.